From the Kedron Bowl in Brisbane, Nine's Wide World of Sports presents the 1987 Goldpin Coca Cola Classic with Alan Thomas.
Hello, I'm Alan Thomas and welcome to the 1987 Goldpin Coca Cola Classic, coming to you from the Kedron Bowling Centre here in Brisbane. Well, we're going to have some great 10-pin bowling for you coming up over the summer. We've got players from as far as Japan and New Zealand taking on our own locals, and it's going to be one hell of a tournament. There's 20 matches to be played in all. There's 8 in the women's and there's 12 in the men, and they'll be coming to you throughout the summer. Your commentators for the tournament will be Steve Mackey, Terry Wenban and Jeanette Baker-Flynn. Now, the first match is a men's match, and it features the defending champion, David Hardy from Kippering here in Brisbane, and his opponent all the way from Western Australia, Tony Rupert.
Yes, Alan, it should be a great summer of 10-pin bowling, and we're starting out with a classic match here because David Hardy, the defending champion, has to win this first game to set a new Australian record. If he wins this one, that'll be 10 straight televised matches on the trot. And joining me in the commentary position, Terry Wenban.
How are you today, Steve?
Very good, and this should be a good match between Tony Rupert and David Hardy.
Well, if they continue to strike like that, it's going to be an excellent match.
Well, the Goldpin Centres here in Queensland have put up $5,000 for a 300 game, and they don't start any better than that.
And the man on screen, David Hardy from Kippering, is only 24 years of age, his highest score of 290. He's an owner driver, and of course he is the defending champion. And a lot of pressure on him here today.
Yes, he is under a lot of pressure, not only to win that 10th successive match, but of course to uphold that fantastic winning performance of last year when he got out of jail so often. Oh, it was a marvellous performance. Terry and I were in the commentary position then too, and we were thrilled by it just as much as anyone else. Well, this is a tough one for him to go for in the first frame, Terry.
It's not a great way to start a game with an open.
Well, he did it so often before, though, and he came back with all those strikes. He won the tiebreaker against Tom Curry last year. Tom Curry's the top seed this year. Well, David won a lot of money in Las Vegas when he went over there with Qantas. I think he won $2,400.
Made the fourth round of the high roller in Vegas, yeah.
That's 2 shots he's gone high. But over the last year, since he's won this tournament, David's tried to change his game a little bit. Like all top players, they always keep trying to improve, and he hasn't had a lot of success with it. Maybe he might start here today.
Well, he's come in with a very positive attitude here today. He didn't bowl as well as he would have liked in the seedings tournament here, but he's come in all fired up today, and that's a pretty confident-looking spare in the second frame. But Tony Rupert, his opponent from the west, started out with the best shot possible.
Tony Rupert is a public servant with the Western Australian Water Authority. He's from Morley. His best bowling performance in the game, 275, and was a member of the winning team in the Gold Cup in Jakarta this year.
Tony hasn't been bowling too long. He's 32 years of age, but he made his first state team this year, and a little bit of inexperience there. He rushed the foul line, eager to get rid of the ball. Stays nice and low, though, Terry. That's a sign of a man with a bit of potential, perhaps.
I think he's got great potential. He's hasn't been bowling competitively for that long, I would presume, and that sort of a shot shows a bit of inexperience. I think he's pretty nervous at the moment. I think he's probably his first time on TV. And David, of course, with an unbeaten record on TV, which is probably the only person in Australia that can say that.
Yes, only person in the world, perhaps, that has an unbeaten record on television, certainly in this country. Well, Tony Rupert opened that second frame and brought David Hardy back into the match, and how often did we see that last year? He's come back well with a strike in the third frame, and David Hardy will need a strike himself now to be the leader by 1 pin in the second frame.
Yeah, last year David hit the Brooklyn a lot. This year Tony's hitting the Brooklyn a lot. It could be a good sign for Tony, I think.
I might just say for the viewers here that the Brooklyn is the other side of the headpin. The right-handed bowlers are aiming for this right-hand side of the one pin, and when they don't hit it, it's referred to as a Brooklyn shot. You'll hear that term quite often during the next 20 matches.
Yeah, I see David's using another ball for his spares.
Yes, there's 4 bowling balls down on the carousel there, and only 2 bowlers. They've each got a couple down there, and that one certainly slid a lot further. Well, at the end of the 3rd frame, a 2-pin lead for Tony Rupert of Western Australia. You're watching the 1987 Goldpin Coca Cola Classic.
And the defending champion, David Hardy, down by 2 pins. That'll be a confidence booster for him.
Yes, that's what the crowd were waiting for. The cheer went up as soon as he let that one go, and that was a copybook strike. Beautiful hit. Look at this one again. Right in the hole. Deja Vu from Logan City Lanes.
Tony's gone a bit high there.
Yes, he really dumped that ball out in the lane. I heard a clunk in the headphones then, and he's not getting it out too smoothly. Bit of nerves, perhaps.
I think he's just nervous. I think he'll take a couple of frames for him to settle down, and well, it just depends if David can get some strikes. He can put a lot of pressure on Tony.
And have a look at the gadget on Tony's hand. We'll have a look at that in the next couple of frames. That's quite a weapon he's wearing there.
Yeah, these days there's more contraptions you can put on your hand to do all sorts of things. Really, it's the finger thing. The finger there is to keep the finger straight so that you can get some lift off the finger. The wrist portion of it is to keep your wrist straight. Soon they'll have things right up your arm. You'll almost be like a robot.
That's a sweet shot.
Great shot.
Yes, it keeps him in the lead unless David Hardy can get a strike in the 5th. So good performance there by Tony Rupert. Perhaps the nerves have gone. That was an excellent ball. Look at it again. That was a good result for David Hardy. He broke up the split there.
He's having trouble finding the sweet spot there, isn't he?
Yes, he's not too confident on the approaches here. He's not as happy as he might be there. He's sticking from time to time. And that's not a good thing to do as you're about to let the ball go. I saw him then fall away as he let the shot go, but he's still only 2 pins behind. And certainly wouldn't like to pick a winner of this match at this stage.
Left himself a curly one now.
Yes, he didn't need to do that. The 4-7-10, Terry.
Yeah, again, he's gone high. He's having, as Steve said, he's having trouble standing up on the approach. He's got his fastest shoes on. They're not sliding. It's causing him to stop suddenly, and he can't bring his arm through where he wants to bring it through. Now, that's a very, very difficult shot. That's harder than coming from the other side, because you've got to judge the ball going away from you rather than hooking into it. As hooking away from the pin, it's very difficult.
Well, he did the right thing by getting 2 of them. That gives him 92 in the 6th frame. Tony Rupert can take a commanding lead in the match with another strike. We have a big lead after this, perhaps 16 pins, and it's a big year for 10-pin bowling, Alan. Later this year, later next year rather, in Korea, the sport is an exhibition at the Seoul Olympics.
It sure is. It's come a long way.
Yes, it has. It's only been going here in Australia for 27 years. It spread from America in the late 50s and early 60s. It started here in 1960 and certainly has come a long way, and nowhere further than it has in southeast Queensland with the Goldpin organisation promoting the sport.
He's not doing much wrong, Rupert, is he? I mean, without being spectacular, he's not doing much wrong.
Well, in these match play situations, a one-game match, all you have to do is win the game. It doesn't matter whether it's a pin or 100 pins. Obviously, psychologically, the more the better for your oncoming opponent. But, well, he just has to win it, and he's 16 pins ahead at this stage. A nice lead.
Tony's getting a bit more luck than David, basically. I think that's really the big difference here. David last year was cheerful, and he had this quiet confidence in his game. And you could sort of predict that he was going to win games from way off, but at the moment he's not confident. Can't stand up. He's made changes in his game.
Well, we might have a look at him next time he bowls and just point out to us, Terry, what's different about him to what he was at this time last year.
Oh, boy. Maybe we spoke too soon. And David Hardy now, with just a spare and a strike, can be as close as 3 pins.
Yes, Stu, that was a silly mistake. Now, all Tony's got to do is play it safe. I think he's not a brilliant bowler. But opening that frame was no good. David now sensing an opportunity here. He really knows what he's got to do. He's been there before. Let's see what he can do with this shot.
Bit of a rushed push away there, but it looks... yes, he did rush the push away just a bit. Certainly last year he was pushing the ball out with a bit more authority.
Yeah, last year he pushed it further out and further up. He's also noticed here he's got a bent elbow, which isn't a good sign. Plus he's also trying to turn the ball more, and last year he wasn't trying to do that.
You're watching the 1987 Goldpin Coca Cola Classic. And at the end of the 7th frame, Tony Rupert from Western Australia leads the defending champion David Hardy of Kiffering by 3 pins. Behind by 3. Getting back to what you were saying about luck. You don't think David's having much luck, and I suppose there was a fair example of it.
Exactly. Like, David needs a strike. A really good solid pocket shot now would really build his confidence up and get him going, and he's not having any luck. He's going through the nose and leaving splits where Tony's breaking them up. And Tony's getting the lucky strikes also.
Well, he's got the 10 pin to go for. Way left on the approach. And he's just made it. 4 pins the difference now. Tony Rupert in the box seat against the defending champion. That'd be a big feather in his cap if he can knock this Queenslander off.
Yeah, I don't think the crowd will like it too much, though.
Well, the Sandgrovers will be pleased at home. Big bowling population in the West. They all watch STW Channel 9.
That's just another example of the luck going Tony's way. David's only missing by 1 or 2 boards, and Tony's actually missing by more and getting a good result, and David's not getting a good result. It's just the way sometimes the game goes. You get a good bounce, you get a bad one.
Yes, and he's a little bit more relaxed. He did calm down after that open frame in the second shot. He certainly eased off on the pressure situations in his own mind, and he's just taking whatever comes, and that's not a bad way to play these one-game matches.
Tony Rupert has 4 strikes to Hardy's 1. I think it'd probably be a while since David Hardy went to 8 frames with only 1 strike, wouldn't it?
Yes, I guess that's quite a long time, because his league average is over 200 up at Redcliffe. That is a very good strike. Very good strike.
I think Tony now is getting a bit more aggressive and giving it everything he's got and throwing it hard down the lane and trying to eliminate any errors that can happen with the ball travelling from right to left.
Terry, you said he looks different in his outlook this year than he was last year, and after this delivery we might just move on that a bit more. Yes. What is so different about, so he's just the general appearance, about his confidence, that what's he not bubbly or he's not excitable? What's wrong with him?
David's flat. He hasn't had a lot of confidence from late, and also, as I said, he's just made these changes in his game, and I think they're bad. I don't believe what he's done's the right thing. He's trying to turn the ball. He's not that type of bowler. He's more of a free, naturally talented type of bowler. He's really trying to play a shot, and he's not that type of player. He's not technically a good player. He's a naturally talented player, lives off aggression, and really needs to stay with his game a lot longer.
Is he not playing, do you think, to his limitations?
No, he's definitely isn't. He's a much better bowler than this. Last year he bowled excellently. He really bowled well, and today he just looks flat.
Well, that's what he needed to do a couple of frames ago, and of course now all he can do is 168. It may not be enough. The game's not over till the last ball's bowled, of course, and Tony Rupert wouldn't want to do anything silly in the 10th, but David Hardy needs to put another one of those down to really put the pressure on.
You see, David's rushing the foul line also. You can see it, he lunges at the line and then stops suddenly and rears up. You can't do much with that.
This needs to be a double for a chance. Not to be. And he's sweating profusely out there. He won't be happy with this performance because last year in winning the tournament he averaged 213 for 9 matches.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to have a go at the spare, so maybe he'll pick it up.
Nope. So David Hardy finishes with 156, the defending champion. And barring a miracle, looks to be bowing out of the tournament.
It'd have to be a big miracle. This bloke would have to foul now, and he's stayed behind the line, and he's put a very good shot in there in the 10th frame. This has been a pretty good 180 as it's turned out, because he did start to free wheel there, even though he had a couple of Brooklyns in the midst of the game.
Yes, Steve, he would have really had to throw a gutter ball like I did a couple of years ago.
Well,
see, anything's possible.
Anything is possible. Yeah, well, you spared yours, though. Well, in the next men's match, Tony Rupert of the West will play one of our overseas bowlers, Ian Hodson of Auckland, New Zealand. Hodson on his 2nd trip to Australia, hoping to make this one a winner. He played in the South Pacific a few years ago, and I'm sure he'll give a good account of himself and the Kiwis in the next men's match.
A good shot.
And Tony Rupert finishes the match the way all bowlers like to, knocking 10 pins down, and he's knocked out the defending champion David Hardy. He knocked him out by 28 pins. Tony Rupert from Western Australia beating David. Defending champion David Hardy. What happened out there?
I don't know. I think I was just a little bit tired. Things didn't suit me as well as they did last year. You can't have a dream run every year.
Out of form?
Yeah, a little bit. I haven't been able to practice as much as I'd like, but that's the way it goes.
Righto, David from Coca-Cola. I've got a cheque for $350 for you.
Thank you very much.
Better luck next year.
Thank you very much.
Tony Rupert, you've come a long way for this tournament.
Yes, I've come from West Australia, and it's my first time over here in the East.
Right, well, you've started off on the right note.
Yes, I have, and I hope I can carry it on. I got a couple of good strikes there. It took me a while to work out the lanes, but I came through.
All right, we'll see you next time round.
Thank you.
And Tony Rupert will be our next match. That will be against the New Zealander, Ian Hodson, the next time we join you for the Goldpin Coca Cola Classic.